Aida for sleeping in on my GF's birthday? I, M25, have been dating my GF, F22, for about 2 months and she got extremely upset with me after sleeping in on her birthday. We agreed to have her birthday at my house, inviting all her young college friends I don't really trust yet and even having her DJ friend come, despite noise concerns. I agreed to it because I wanted her party to be special and she had no other option. I spent 9 hours straight cleaning my house top to bottom in preparation and even made edibles for the party. Last week I had to fly out for 5 days on a business trip. They ended up scheduling it on top of her birthday after I agreed to host it. I fought to rework the entire project schedule and got multiple other people to change plans just so I could be back in time for the day of her birthday and then the party the next day. This trip turned out to be one of the most mentally taxing projects of my career. Both flights in and out were red eyes and the work required me to do everything late at night, as late as 6 a.m. on a few nights. I worked 62 hours and got average of 4 hours of sleep per night in a 5-day span. One night I only got 1 hour of sleep before working 12 hours. I stayed in sketchy hotels, got an eye infection, and even ran into my bipolar ex that emotional traumatized me. Needless to say I was drained mentally and physically. I took the day off after I got back so we could hang out on her actual birthday. She spent the entire week with her mom shopping and hanging out. We never agreed on a specific time or even plan on what we were doing. I woke up early to a work call to fix one last thing from the project, said good morning to my GF and we talked about getting coffee at some point. My body just couldn't physically stay awake anymore and I ended up falling asleep for more 3 hours. Finally I get up, get her some flowers, and head to her place to take her for her favorite lunch, see a movie she wanted, and get her favorite cake. When I got there, she was extremely upset and crying really hard because I slept too long. When I tried to explain, she dismissed my sleep deprivation because she doesn't get good sleep in general and said, "Welcome to my life." She didn't thank me for the flowers, lunch, movie or cake. I felt like I have been giving 110% to everyone and everything and yet I'm still getting yelled at. It brought back feelings of never being good enough and walking on eggshells that my traumatizing ex gave me. She even told me later that negative reinforcement works better. Welcome to Am I the Asshole? Please view our voting guide here. https://www.reddit.com/r/amatheushole/wiki/fact#wiki_what.2019s_go/acronyms.3f_math.3f closing parenthesis comma and remember to use only one judgment in your comment. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. Greater than the action was sleeping in on her birthday. I might be the asshole because she felt hurt by me disrespecting her time. Help keep the sub engaging. #don't downvote assholes. ! Do upvote interesting posts. Click here for our rules. https://www.reddit.com/r/amatheushole/about/rules closing parenthesis and click here for our FAQ. https://www.reddit.com/r/amatheushole/wiki/fact closing parenthesis. #subreddit announcements. Follow the link above to learn more. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please, contact the moderators of this subreddit. https://www.reddit.com/message/compose/?2=r/amatheushole closing parenthesis if you have any questions or concerns. Contest mode is 1.5 hours low. ing on this post. NTA if you believe that you did everything in your power and your GF doesn't care much about you even after you changed so many things just to be able to be back for Hibide. Intelligent people understand that you can plan whatever you want but reality can bring changes at any given moment and it is all about willingness to find the best solution. You tried it and she didn't appreciate it at all.
You have to figure out if she is someone that you really want in your life or no. You choose who you build relationships with, so choose wisely. NTA. Mutual understanding is necessary. She should really try to comprehend what happened to you if she wants you to see things from her perspective.
NTA. Even if she's young and used to the birthday madness it sounds like her life may have been, it's time to grow up.
You haven't been together long enough for this drama. You did what you could. Her expectations weren't met. It sounds like an honest adult conversation wasn't possible. You should probably move on. I second this. She is immature and doesn't get it yet. I'd love of your life, maybe work on it, but 2 months with all you did? I'd just say we are in different places in life right now. This is a very obvious case of break up ASAP. You don't need this in your life.
If she is like this after 2 months, she will make your life a nightmare.
Find a nice, well-adjusted girl.
The negative reinforcement works thing is a major red flag.
Location flag. That and the clear emotional manipulation and dismissiveness. And the clear borderline traits. None of us are qualified to make such determinations based on a Reddit post, nor can we project our personal experiences onto others. My wife has borderline and is nothing like this. LMFAO. Get your facts straight and stop unnecessarily labeling people. Reddit gonna Reddit. These PPL take everything to the extreme in their sad little lives. No dude. I am a borderline and don't treat people like that. She may just be a really selfish, spoiled, entitled, self-absorbed narcissistic person. But thanks for labeling all borderlines thumbs up. Yes. Also, she spent the whole week shopping with her mom. That statement made me feel that she might be entitled, spoiled. Fuck all the way off with your stigmatizing. Add one onto the pile of people who don't know what negative reinforcement is. This is nitpicky, but the woman in this post does not understand that negative reinforcement doesn't mean yelling at somebody to change their behavior. That's positive punishment. Negative reinforcement. I say, clap, to you, clap to I, turn off a sound you hate to you are more likely to do what I asked. Positive punishment. I say, clap, to you, don't clap to I, yell at you to you are less likely to not clap in the future. The problem with punishment is that it teaches what you don't want, not what you want. You may know that doing nothing when I say clap is wrong, but you don't know that I want you to clap. None of this is super relevant. This guy needs to break up with his GF because her expectations are wild. Thank you. I hear it wrong so often that I always question my sanity. Lol, I hear that. It's hard going from my professional life where this knowledge is the norm to Reddit where terminology is used colloquially. Though I'm sure anybody in a field that uses technical language deals with this frustration. Not even just technical jargon. Venomous, don't get bit, versus poisonous, don't bite it, get screwed up all the time, even in high-production animal documentaries. It's not a pet peeve limited to the hobby, but if you want to smoke out a reptile enthusiast in the room, mention a poisonous cobra and watch for the involuntary twitching. I have recently had a very involved conversation about this with my kindergarten class. Teach 'em while they're young grin. I'm sorry, but if I hear either word I'm not going near it. Lol. I read in a fan translation of an Asian comic once about a poisonous python. I had a little stroke reading that. Tears of joy. The snake image shown resembled a cobra the most, by the way, which led to 2 words, 3 mistakes. That's talent. Face with hand over mouth. I get asked all the time if I have anti-venom for my boa's woman facepalming. There was a book on Amazon by a Dr. Jerry Wilfred titled, Boa Constrictor, The Ultimate Guide on Everything You Need to Know About Boa Constrictor Care, Housing, Handling, Feeding and Healthcare, with a photo of what is without a doubt a cobra. They seem to have taken it down. Hopefully the good doctor got a republish credit from his photo editor's smiley face. It seems to have been taken down though. I have a screenshot but it's not letting me post it.
Yeah, the big flag is trying to use psychology terms to manipulate their point and gaslight, while also using it incorrectly and being incorrect. Positive punishment is definitely not better.
The big flag for me is how utterly selfish she is.
Her birthday seems to be the most important thing in the world regardless of whatever else is going on for others.
I think that's just childish and extremely selfish.
NTA, but the girlfriend definitely is.
To follow up, it all means only this. Reinforce means to increase a desired behavior. Punish means to decrease an undesired behavior. Positive means add, negative means remove.
So, negative reinforcement is what people use when they actually mean positive punishment, e.g. spanking.
This is the best explanation of this I've ever heard. I finally think I understand.
Then would something like giving a dog a treat for doing a trick be positive reinforcement, and taking away a toy from a child for doing something bad negative punishment?
Or am I now making things up? Correct. Negative reinforcement would be, if you get all A's you don't have to do the dishes anymore. I had forgotten this. Thanks for explaining it.
This is the most important comment in this thread.
That's wild. I'd never heard of positive punishment, and my understanding of negative reinforcement was completely wrong. I need to read your post a few more times to really get it, but I do get the general idea. Thanks for the explanation. I know this isn't the point, but that's not even negative reinforcement. What she did was clearly positive punishment. Removed.
I dunno, remember Cesar Millan with Cartman?
That negative enforcement worked pretty well. ETA, this is a joke, people. Cartman is a cartoon character.
Y'all know that, right?
To be that guy, that's not negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is the removal of a condition to encourage a behavior to continue, such as a teacher not yelling when a class is behaving. What Cesar Millan was doing in that episode is called positive punishment. He was adding the unpleasant stimulus to stop Cartman's aggressive behavior. Oh, were we in behavioral psychology together? Thank you for the correction. I couldn't remember the term and it was bugging me. Ha! My canine behavior courses paid off. I thought that sounded like positive punishment.
Cesar Millan, like many other reality TV experts, Super Nanny, Man vs. Wild, Dr. Phil, etc., is highly controversial in his field. The show is carefully edited to entertain the audience and to make him look good, not to educate people. Watch it for entertainment if you'd like, but please don't think of him as an authority on animal training or care.
But I like Super Nanny. Unacceptable. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being dominant.
TSST. Calm, submissive energy.
Tell that to Holly, the yellow lab that bit him. Nothing works 100% of the time, not even the TSST. Dominance theory was debunked in Wolves and Dogs. Sincerely, a veterinary behavior technician. That's a quote from South Park. Sincerely, a person of taste. Not really. It was debunked as the definition of how most people understand it. One absolute control, alpha, for a pack of mixed wolves. But canines do still have a dominant structure like pretty much any pack, herd animal. Some are braver and more adventurous, so they become pack protectors, alphas. Some are more submissive, so they become the pack, heart, that helps the others calm down, etc. And then all sorts of roles in between, and the pack is usually just a set of parents and their poo. P.S. So the alpha is usually the parents. But the dominant wolf can change in response to changed situations. So there's not one alpha that rules them all, but a more human-like structure of one wolf in charge at a time, role rotated as needed. So if you understand this, you can still use the theory to work with dogs to make sure your dog knows you're always in the role of alpha, and the dog doesn't need to be. You need to effectively become their parent by enforcing discipline and protecting the pack. This, of course, doesn't mean you need to abuse a dog or even be overly strict. But it does mean that, just like with kids, if you say no and mean it,
you need to enforce it. Because if you can't enforce it against the dog will have no confidence that you're strong enough to protect it from outside threats. So it will assume it is the strongest member of the pack and will therefore try to keep the pack safe by leading it.
Which often means growling at threats. And even nipping at family members to keep them in line. Or any number of other bad behaviors.
You also have to investigate threats and inform the dog if the threat is real or not, like a doorbell. The dog will alert to the threat. Then it's up to you as the alpha to investigate the noise, enforcing that it is your job, not the dog's, and then let the dog know everything is fine.
TLDR, the dominance theory, can still be used effectively to work with dogs, as long as it is understood correctly and not as the incorrectly interpreted theory most think it is. So do I have to actually get up and check when the dog barks at the door when no one is there? Rather than just yelling, "There's no one there, damn it, sad face." Yes.
Because otherwise, it's just you, barking, at the door also. How can you know it's okay if you haven't investigated? If it helps, if you get up, check, then tell your dog, "It's okay," enough times, eventually the dog should start to trust you when you say, "It's okay," even when you didn't get up, at least a lot of the time. When it's a noise they recognize.
Edit. Realized I should probably expand on this. Ideally, you should practice this with someone willing to ring your doorbell and then street.
And out there for however long it takes you to finally open the door after dealing with the dog, which will be longer than your normal visitors will usually wait.
Doorbell rings. Dog barks and rushes the door. You need to go and investigate the threat by going to the door.
Enforce that it is your job by backing the dog up away from the door. Don't pull them, but move in front between dog and door and order them back. Move into their space until they give way and back up to where you want them. Then maintain eye contact until they relax and look away, basically them giving in and saying, "Oh, okay.
Door is yours. I get that now." And only then open the door.
Same thing for outside noises that you don't really need to answer, like a door.
Investigate.
Back them up from the door, window. Wait for them to relax and understand that you're taking charge of the threat, and they don't have to. Then praise them for understanding and go back to whatever you were doing.
Reminding them is nay.
Dead, with the same process, that the noise has been approved by you and they no longer need to alert to it, that time.
Yes.
This takes a lot of time and repetition.
Nope.
You're wrong.
Dogs know we aren't dogs.
We aren't part of their pack. We aren't their alphas. They do not see it that way. And even in dog packs, they run in loose social circles and the dominance constantly shifts depending on resources and situations.
I've studied this quite extensively. I've trained with some of the best and most revered trainers there are. Sophia Yin, Karen Pryor, attended levees with Ken Ramirez, Patrick McConnell, Ian Dunbar. Behavior medicine is my obsession. The longer I live, the more I think songbirds are the smartest animals by far.
But anyway, even if dogs know we aren't dogs, their vocabulary for handling social relationships is still going to be composed of the elements found in human-less packs.
I don't suppose they invent new types of relationship for people. Also, wow, today I learned Sophia Yin hanged herself sad face. So what you're saying is that you didn't even read my post. I was just thinking that rolling on the floor laughing.
So what you're saying is you've seen the word alpha and didn't bother reading the comment because you have extensively studied the topic, yet you said the same thing as the comment you ignored and added a few name drops. While I'd prefer to always be positive reinforcing my dog's behavior, it's important that they know who is dominant in the relationship.
Your response is spot on.
As long as it's not abusive, dogs need to learn correct behavior.
And this girlfriend from the post does need someone to do the TSSS for her own benefit. I'm more of the 90-10 camp. 90% positive, but 10% informing them of the behaviors you don't want.
If you never let them know what's not acceptable, then I feel it's stupid to expect them to understand that those things aren't acceptable. This is simply just not true. Dogs absolutely need to learn correct behavior. Just like children, if they don't know the boundaries, it makes them insecure. Discipline is essential for a happy dog.
It's what their genetics require. A constantly misbehaving pack member will be driven out of the pack, and dogs are pack animals.
They want that pack, and they won't feel secure until they know the rules that hold the pack together.
Bro RLLY cares about this one topic.
Just annoys me how many misbehaving, stressed out dogs there are just because people don't understand this.
It's a really simple deal. You have to be in charge of your dog, or they will think they are in charge.
And that doesn't mean abusing your dog any more than a manager has to abuse an employee just because the manager is in charge.
It just means rules need to be made and enforced.
Then everyone, dog and human, would be loads happier.
Didn't he get charged with animal cruelty IRL though law?
Junior attacked and killed Queen Latifah's dog, injured several others, and attacked a gymnast whose career was ruined as a result.
I believe it was all settled out of court, though. I prefer the positive reinforcement. Dog trainers could never get on with Caesar's techniques. Me too. I tried some of his stuff, but both my dogs responded much better to positive reinforcement. Plus, I don't enjoy living in a constant state of discipline. I pick my battles with my dogs.
Also, my dogs have never attacked anyone or killed any other dogs, so I think I'm doing okay without his methods.
Woman shrugging. My parents had a rescue Malinois that was over the top aggressive.
Like, knocked me off my feet and dragged me 8 meters down a concrete sidewalk while wearing a gentle lead. https://www.chewy.com/pet-gentle-leader-padded-no-pull/dp/52193 because she saw a blind and deaf golden retriever with his person on the other side of the road.
In 9 months, positive reinforcement had her able to safely walk on or off leash and gave her perfect recall even when other large dogs aggressively charged us, and able to safely interact with children, including having food taken out of her mouth. Negative reinforcement and punishments had given her the previous 5 failed adoptions. I think I know which one I'm going to use in the future.
Exactly, it's like with a kid, what teaches better you do these behaviors, you get a toy, or do this or else. Eventually the or else method's gonna bite them in the ass. My dog is super disciplined, but it was all trained through positive reinforcement.
She personally is more play motivated than food, so I just give her a few commands, and when she gets it right I throw her ball. She's fully obedience trained, to the point where I can go inside and leave her on a stay and she does not move. Our yard is fenced. If she breaks the stay she isn't in any danger. I was done watching his show the minute he kicked a dog. Yup, I watch Victoria Stilwell and Graham Hall mostly.
WTF?
Wasn't that like his top dog of the bunch?
The one who helped out the most.
Another reason I'm not a fan of pit bull terriers. Yup. Junior was his ambassador. The one he brought everywhere because he was so well trained. Woman shrugging face with rolling eyes.
What? Is that true?
Yikes.
Junior? Daddy never would have done that. That's awful. Cesar belongs in jail. He is an idiot and Huss methods are outdated and cruel.
I'm a veterinary behavior technician. Cesar is a great example of what not to do. It's a cartoon. Whoosh. Thank you for this reminder. I remember finding this episode hysterical, so I'll have to have a rewatch.
Cesar Millan reviewed the episode, too.
He was laughing real hard at that last scene with Mrs. Cartman. I for one loved that episode. Lol.
Cows are much nicer than her.
Rolling on the floor laughing.
Cows are much nicer than most people. Not all of them. Lol. Cows are crazy sometimes. They kill a large number of people every year.
Can be sweeties though.
They are literally large pasture puppies if raised right, but yes, that can get dangerous. Our pasture is a big hill. We were going down it one day walking kind of quickly. Our fault. and one of our cows who happens to have horns got really excited that we were there and started running towards us, jumping around.
Almost lol, but we got out of the way and everything ended up
Fine. All she wanted was pets and to come see us, so can't really be mad. Cows are like chihuahuas.
sweet and lovely or psychotic. My friend and I got attacked by 2 cows when walking through a pasture in Vermont. We weren't anywhere near them and they just ran right for us. We got behind some trees just in time.
The cow was literally right next to the tree I hid behind, snorting and looking scary.
That was 30 years ago and I have never walked through a cow pasture again.
Not to get off topic, but there are so many red flags on your field.
You sound lovely. Get out now.
I mean, there's sort of a no thoughts, head empty situation.
So are skunks.
Buddy has a pet skunk. Such a sweet little skunk. Thanks for the info. I never knew that they would be great pets. How does your friend deal with the smell? Domestic skunks don't stink up the house or have that ability.
Though when grumpy they will stomp. Adorably so. I would love to see a video of that. I love all animals, even the smelly ones. Even though the colors go the wrong way, if I ever got a skunk, I would be very tempted to name it Oreo.
https://youtube.com/shorts/bt8ispvs?C=HQRZV1 ISIL3 exodal. Generally domesticated skunks have been deskunked when young. https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/skunks_as_pegs #tilde text the %20 mercaptan %2 detated %20 cent %20 glaze as %20 a %20 more %20 com %20 disposition closing parenthesis. One of my dogs got skunked in the middle of the night last year. Pity mix. She was slower than our Jack Russell, who managed to dodge the spray. Let both out to pee at 4 a.m.
Also, skunk spray is neon yellow when sprayed on a white coat, so I saw her before I smelled her, but didn't quite register you. Until I smelled her. I managed to get most of it off with hydrogen peroxide, baking soda and dish soap, but even now I occasionally get the faintest whiff of sulfur.
Humans can detect butyl mercaptan in 10 parts per billion. My dog loved cats.
He thought that cute skunk was a cat, unfortunately.
Took a long time and a wash at PetSmart or Petco to get most of the stink off.
I've heard a tomato soup bath helps. IDK about animals though.
But it can't hurt to try, right? I had friends who tried that with their dog decades ago, pre-internet, used a couple of gallons of tomato juice, and their dog smelled like tomato plus ass for a couple of weeks.
It sort of vaguely covered it. I think they eventually tried various shampoos and vinegar and it faded. Their front porch smelled like sulfur for a good 5 years.
The hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, dish soap, thanks internet, was super effective.
I had to use marinara sauce, lol. I'd always heard that too, but a chemist friend says hydrogen peroxide is the way to go. Nope, tomato sauce doesn't work. You either need a store-bought deskunking spray or use the hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, dish soap mix. OMG, I would love a skunk. Or a raccoon, although I hear they're much harder to domesticate. https://youtube.com/shorts/bt8ispvs?C=HQRZV1 ISIL3 exodal. Rats are really good pets, too.
They're very loving if you give the time and attention they deserve.
Reminds me of the video I watched where a dog brought a baby cow home lol. Most animals on a normal day and in their groups are nicer than people. Both work. But using rewards is often more effective than punishment.
How dare you insult cows?
Let's not insult the bovine. Positive, negative reinforcement in psychology doesn't mean doing nice or bad things to reinforce. It means adding or taking something away. Usually adding a good thing or taking away a bad thing. Both work. It's unclear to me whether ex-GF or current GF said that.
Your comment has been removed because it violates Rule 1. Be civil. https://www.reddit.com/r/amethyshole/about/rules/closing
If we've removed a few of your recent comments, your participation will be reviewed and may result in a ban.
Why do I have to be civil in a sub about assholes? https://www.reddit.com/r/amethyshole/wiki/fact. Message the mods. https://www.reddit.com/message/compose?2=r/amethyshole. If you have any questions or concerns.
Right? Can you believe she had the audacity to make that comment?
Sensing the extremes you went to for this ingrate, I anticipate you'll still allow the party to proceed.
I would suggest that shortly thereafter, you simply move on. No explanation is necessary. It will be a total waste of your time. Seek out a woman for your next relationship. Good luck.
Oh. GF is TA. OP is NTA. If I were OP, I'd be tempted to call the whole thing off. That woman doesn't deserve a party after the way she chewed him out over nothing.
His decision to do that would certainly be understandable. Facts: break up ASAP. Exactly. That's like kicking a dog because they had an accident.
And simply isn't true.
Totally agree. That's so much bullcrap. Who even says that? WTF?
I think that was the ex, no?
Right? Location flag, location flag, location flag. Therapist and abuse survivor here. I concur.
This is not an example of negative reinforcement.
Negative reinforcement involves removing noxious stimuli.
This is a common misconception about reinforcement.
If I heard that from literally anyone, I would drop them immediately. I am way too traumatized for more of that shit. Yup. Crimson.
What troubles me about the negative reinforcement works statement is, of course, the red flags for abuse, but also that she doesn't know what negative reinforcement means.
Positive reinforcement is the introduction of stimuli that will shape behavior. It could be desirable stimuli or undesirable,
but it is still positive reinforcement because something new has been introduced, i.e., her yelling and crying.
Negative reinforcement is the removal of stimuli to shape behavior. If she had refused to answer his calls or go out for lunch, this would have been negative reinforcement. Both are manipulative and wrong. Also, who is this nuts about their birthday? Negative reinforcement is also taking something away from the situation.
Example: taking a phone from your teen as punishment.
Positive reinforcement is adding something to a situation.
Example: giving a dog a treat after obeying a command.
What she's actually doing is positive punishment.
Adding something adverse to the situation. This is actually an example of positive punishment.
Adding something adverse to a situation to decrease a behavior. Negative reinforcement is taking away an unwanted stimuli to increase a behavior. Positive reinforcement is adding a stimuli to increase a behavior. And negative punishment is taking away something unwanted to decrease a behavior. Negative reinforcement works for those with low self-worth and a need for validation from the abuser.
Girlfriend is horrible, but Op needs to look in the mirror why he was attracted to women who belittles him.
It's a freaking red circus tent. Negative reinforcement is not what's happening here. Negative reinfo is the removal of a reinforcer, something someone likes.
This is just pure punishment to poor Oop. They are at different life stages. After that type of work schedule, sleeping is unavoidable.
Even someone with chronic sleep disorder would not be a good person if they can't accept that someone with short-term sleep deprivation needs more sleep. I mean, when you cancel her party, you can tell her she was the one who said negative reinforcement fixes everything.
But who said that? The ex or the current GF?
It's in the part where he talks about the ex, so it's not really relevant if so.
What do you mean?
For clarity, I actually want to know what you mean, as I didn't understand your comment. ELI 5, please?
BTW negative reinforcement is actually not what most people think it is.
Negative reinforcement is removing something as a reward, such as removing a chore to reward a child for doing homework. Punishment is the word people are looking for. Let me also add that OP's GF doesn't even know what negative reinforcement is. 'Cause negative reinforcement is the removal of a negative to strengthen a behavior. She doesn't even know what negative reinforcement is if she's referring to her actions as so.
She's just doing positive punishment and using words she doesn't understand to justify it because the word reinforcement is there.
And doesn't even understand that the psychology world often says that positive punishment can and often does break down any existing bond. My dog tried harder for treats. Sounds like she is looking for an excuse to start punishing up. Intermittent positive reinforcement works best, everyone knows that. Sheesh.
But was that GF who said that or X?
He was talking about his traumatizing ex in the prior sentence. So who is she?
Especially since she clearly doesn't understand what negative reinforcement actually means.
Oh yeah. I was unsure up until that point if maybe the rest of it wasn't important to her, and all she wanted was his time. Frankly sounds like he works too hard.
But that statement is flat out psycho.
You need to take some time to think about why you have now been involved in 2 back-to-back toxic relationships.
I suggest a good long break while you work on yourself, and what you need and want out of life, before you even think about your next one.
NTA, but be careful about burning out. You need to take care of yourself.
People complain that responses on Reddit jump to break up so much, but they ignore that people in good relationships rarely post anything here. By the time someone posts here, the relationship is having problems, usually bad ones.
In this case, I agree that if she is like this after 2 months, they are not right for each other. She needs someone in a 9-to-5 job that can spend the rest of his time worshipping the ground she walks on. Needs someone that realizes sometimes life just gets in the
way of plans and adjustments have to be made. Edit to add is NTA, but the GF is the AH.
Agreed.
You don't see posts like, "I'm completely content in my healthy relationship and we solve issues in a mature and respectful way." Ayeta?
Normally I say that everyone has a right to feel upset even if the intention wasn't to upset them.
But this is clearly a scenario in which should have been offered some grace.
I think GF is allowed to feel a little sad that the day had a slow start, but she blew it way out of proportion by taking that out on him and acting like he didn't care while he literally inconvenienced himself and others to be there. Yeah, not looking good. She's assigning too much meaning to you needing an extra couple hours of sleep.
She needs to grow up and learn that not everything is gonna go 100% her way, and that she should pick her battles better, especially when that person is already doing something nice for her. Agreeing with your agree.
I think everyone has the right to feel any kind of way. Our feelings are usually pretty organic and out of our control.
How we act on those feelings is where things can go sideways. Girlfriend isn't wrong to feel hurt and sad, but her expression of that was way over the top.
I think at 22, we aren't often the best at recognizing that having valid feelings about something doesn't justify us acting however we want. I think that's why sometimes people can't admit they are wrong. Their feelings that prompted the action weren't wrong, only just the action they took in response to those feelings.
But to admit they were wrong in their actions can feel like they are also admitting they were wrong in their feelings. They keep trying to justify their actions because those actions were based on valid feelings, and ultimately people just want to be heard and seen and have those feelings recognized and acknowledged.
It usually takes a measure of life experience to be able to separate our feelings from our actions in the sense of, okay, how I acted was totally wrong. I'm so sorry for that and I will work on controlling my reactions in the future.
But I do still want to discuss the bad feelings I had that lead to my actions. I don't believe I'm wrong for feeling the way I felt, and I need to talk that through with you.
And sometimes that life experience is gained through consequences, like people choosing to no longer be around you. It's a bummer.
In an ideal world we could all just talk it out and grow together, but often that just ends up enabling people to continue bad behavior. Change can be difficult and uncomfortable, so we often aren't inclined to go through that process until it becomes more painful to not change.
It would be great if unconditional love always led to people wanting to improve themselves, but often it does the opposite. Sounds like girlfriend needs to learn the lesson that her feelings are valid, but no more so than anyone else's.
And if she continues to act in ways that put her feelings on a pedestal above all others, people aren't going to be inclined to stand by her side.
This is amazing. Thank you. Well said. Exactly this. She's allowed to be a little sad, but the nastiness and lack of gratitude for flowers and cake, more than anyone had ever done on my birthday, is unacceptable.
If my boyfriend went to all this trouble and wanted to sleep in on my birthday, I'd join him.
Edit to add. NTA. Op.
Did she know about your taxing schedule? Because her reaction shows no empathy.
This is exactly what I was thinking. Yes, and also, how old did she turn?
12? One thing though, when people post here, we only get a glimpse into a percentage of their relationship, the percentage that is bad. So we think that it's 100% of the relationship, whereas it might be 15%. But being bratty the way she was, and then not apologizing for it is concerning on a serious level.
Like if you post, "My husband and I have been married 20 years. Our neighbor keeps parking on our grass. How do we get them to stop?" No one is going to reply with, "Get a divorce. Law."
Make the neighbors divorce.
Instructions unclear, I'm filing for a divorce.
The person I'm divorcing?
My neighbor.
Greater than asterisk no one is going to reply with, "Get a divorce, asterisk."
Just going to play the devil's advocate, taking Reddit patterns into consideration.
Greater than asterisk my husband and I have been married 20 years.
Our neighbor keeps parking on our grass. How do we get them to stop?
Greater than your husband can't deal with this on his own, nor talk to the neighbor and defend you.
He's not a good man. Divorce him. Find a man who can solve problems for you.
Was that a stretch?
Yes. And Redditors will stretch as far as reaching Neptune. To villainize a random person just for the sake of it. They'll invent context.
You need to read more in this sub and relationship advice, and then add some time on surviving infidelity, and you will see why I made that post.
I was agreeing with you. And I'd rather have hobbies than read that much Reddit tbh.
My apologies, I didn't phrase my answer as good as I had intended.
I occasionally get reading too much Reddit. I have more free time on my hands now than I'm used to, and sometimes it seems I've gone down a Reddit rabbit hole. But Reddit is my cheapest hobby. I disagree. People on Reddit post about a specific incident which leads people to scream, break up, divorce.
Rarely the post goes into detail more than the incident they are talking about. The Redditors assume they know what the entire relationship is like due to one shitty thing, plus only hearing one side of the story their partner might have done once.
Edit.
I do agree with this post, they probably aren't right for each other.
It's way too soon, 2 months, for someone to be treating Aneth
like this.
I would agree this relationship isn't meant to last.
It's true. But often you have to see things through to not have regrets. A lot of situations posted here can be solved by improving communication, or it's small things and they just want a judgment on who was at fault for something. This post is a pretty extreme case.
And I mean, people in such obviously bad relationships will usually not post here either, because they realize it's that bad. This sub is for posting things you're unsure about. So true.
Damn it, 2 months they should still be in that honeymoon phase.
Anyone making these kind of demands at 2 months is too self-absorbed to be in a relationship emo. At 2 months you're still getting to know someone.
Expecting them to drop everything and bend to your every will is just not realistic or healthy.
She set the bar very high for her birthday at 2 months in.
Imagine what she would expect after 3 years.
Right? At 2 months you're in honeymoon phase and on your best behavior.
You aren't comfortable enough yet to show your full, imperfect self.
At 2 months I would expect a nice gift and dinner out.
That's it.
You are NTA. But it was her B-day and she cried cause she wanted to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Lol winking face.
I'd cry on my B-day, hell fucking yeah. But over something trivial like there wasn't pizza in my mouth when I woke up.
On behalf of the less well-adjusted as well. This isn't someone who needs extra love and support. This is a nightmare.
After reading all of that I forgot they'd only been together for 2 months.
Op jump ship now, it's not worth it. This. Next time around, try to find a girl who's got a career. Lifestyle difference between those in careers and collage is quite different.
The fact that he called them her young college friends said that they aren't at the same place, maturity, lifestyle-wise.
Break up.
When I was at uni I was so sleep-deprived, I was the one passing out randomly during the day on people. My boyfriend certainly didn't hold it against me.
He was a bit older, working his ass off too. She's just an ass. Like, you're an adult and adulting in the real world. If you're dating a college kid, you're going to get a college kid. For real.
It just doesn't work.
At 19 I met a really great 25-yo. I was commuting to college so I wasn't having the typical college experience and I did work full-time so I thought the age difference would be fine.
But him navigating finding a place to live, getting a new job, trying to break into a new career field, and all the seriousness of life that comes with it. I wasn't able to relate.
I called him boring to his fucking face and broke up with him. Him, a very great dude. Not that it.
Hink, we were compatible long-term, even now that I'm about 30. But there was nothing wrong with him. I was just at different life stage.
That shit matters and I hate when people pretend it doesn't. I can't imagine what this girl would be like after 20 years if this is how she acts after only 2 months. Whoever marries her will have a life of constant negativity.
100% agree.
She's a spoiled young lady with a serious lack of appreciation. Second this. I don't like to jump to breakup, divorce and these posts, but this seems like a post that needs this. NTA.
Despite only being 3 years apart, they seem to be in very different points in life, mentally.
On top of that, Ops GF just seems too immature to even be in a relationship.
Better to cut them loose.
It's only been 2 months.
I came here to say something similar. Their age gap isn't the issue. They are just in different chapters of their lives.
The post-college first per second job versus still in college or just barely post-grad are so different.
She sounds extremely immature and frankly manipulative.
I have condiments in my fridge that have been in my life longer than this girl has been in OP's. 2 months is absolutely nothing and I'm honestly surprised by how much he was willing to do when only dating for 2 months.
IWOU.
Oldn't be having that party at my house or seeing her anymore. Greater than, break up ASAP. And hopefully before the party. I have a feeling that if the party happens, OP's place will get trashed, and a bunch of his stuff stolen or destroyed.
If the GF has so little respect for OP, I can't see her friends respecting him either. And if she is complaining to her friends about this morning, some might look for some petty revenge at the party.
And that's on top of OP already not feeling comfortable with all her friends coming over. I'm also guessing that there is a
decent chance that the GF will dump OP after she gets her party.
I married someone like this after knowing her 2 weeks and so many red flags.
But hey, I was 22 and it was time to get married, right?
Anyway, we were married for almost 8 years. I was done at about 4 but she got pregnant again. First sexy time in 8 months and she got pregnant. She was obsessed with paying off things. Like, we need to budget so we can pay some stuff off. Then there's whatever she was doing. I got $40 for allowance for the month to include food. She also complained out
my wages and encouraged me to get a second job. I'm a paramedic.
With the way schedules work, I would be working 6 to 7 days a week, minimum 12 hours. I was okay doing that, but I explained that to her. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Occasionally we would go out for concerts or whatever and I would encourage her to buy herself something nice.
$400 to $600 purses, $200 at Sephora. She would run up a bill. My hobby at the time was photography and I wanted a new lens. Nothing fancy, I think it was $250 minus $300, cheap for lenses. She limited me to $100 for a lens. I ended up finding a zoom lens from an older generation of my camera that would fit.
About 2 weeks after we paid off $78,000 in student loans and her $32,000 car, she asked for a divorce citing, "You're never home. If I'm going to be a single mom, I might as well have the bed to myself. And, when I look at you, all I feel is anger and resentment, for not being home."
I learned later this was all considered financial manipulation. She continued this kind of stuff when I got serious with my now wife. Started a huge custody battle by rearranging the order of actual events to make me look unstable. I wore a concealed weapon to my kid's birthday party. A week later her cousin started a lot of drama on Facebook and it got ugly. She conveniently got the order of these events confused when she filed a temporary restraining order against me where I couldn't see my kids unsupervised. Included my history with drugs from a time long before. We were married and the fact I saw a psychiatrist, I was deemed mentally unstable, in the order she filed.
She did everything she could to drag the case out, pay to make changes and have them brought before the judge, tack on pricey requirements. Just any little thing she could do to make it more costly.
I was using a firm I found on some father's rights advocacy, and they were less than effective. TLDR, people who disregard your sacrifices when they want something are self-centered, narcissistic, controlling, manipulative, and at the very least, just petty.
Sounds like a horrible situation. Though, seriously, 2 weeks. My cousin went through similar sad face, hope things are looking up and the kids are okay.
I am so sorry this happened to you. Parents who use their kids as pawns in this way make me absolutely sick to my stomach. Did you ever check the paternity of the child who was conceived after the 8-month absence? This is common when they find out they're pregnant with someone else's child or have had a situation, broken condom etc., with the affair partner. There's no need. She looks just like my sister at that age.
X was very low libido and basically just had sex out of necessity, duty or just to make a baby. It was likely a trap because we had an argument that night about me not being around enough to help out or something.
She worked up some story about how me being gone all the time makes her lonely and wants to leave this world. Remember in my original comment when I explained to her I would be working 70 to 90 hours a week? No matter how much. I explained that, she insisted I could do more to be home, but wasn't comfortable to let me work only one job. Side note, she's a CPA and does financial reporting for oil companies. Her base salary was almost double what I made with 2 jobs. We would have been fine and still able to budget to pay stuff off with me working one job. She just treated me like an employee to make more money. TLDR, but in what world is 22 universally time to get married? I came from the product of, move out at 18, start your career, then get married. At 22 I was running behind schedule. Find an adult. Op is NTA. The crying really hard part is what got me. Who TF cries their eyes out over something so silly? She sounds incredibly immature and emotionally unstable. This is the kind of person who will never be satisfied with anything Op does for her because it can't possibly live up to her fantasies. Exactly. Her 22nd birthday? She sounds like a 3-year-old. As a naturally, yet recovering, chaotic person, that is potentially fine, certainly, but maybe wistfully? Still, that crazy girl, to some bygone romancers. It's not going to get better until she does, and it doesn't seem that the infrastructure of her life is set for healing. Nor does it seem her friends or family are positive influences. The vibrance, fun, chemistry, etc.,
aren't worth the antagonizing, stress, misaligned values.
Imagine a repeat of that trip in 5 years. But she's supposed to be home,
holding down the fort, and flakes off shopping, dancing, etc.
Not a welcoming environment to return to.
I've traded the dance floor for the farm, but not without being careless in relationships in a way I regret, and not without long stretches of solitude to heal my heart and find a balance that would permit me to share a path with the right one.
Yes, this. It happened to me, it happened to my friends. It is life.
It's life that sometimes you're absolutely shattered and need a longer nap to function like a human being and pretty much pass out. I've been so jet-lagged after work trips I couldn't remember what happened sometimes.
If my boyfriend did what she did to me, I'd laugh in his face.
Temper tantrum over 3 hours of sleep you needed when you didn't have set plans. She's having a laugh.
Agree. Run, don't walk.
This is what I came here to say.
If she's bringing this much drama in 2 months, she's only going to escalate. Also, and not an age thing, just stage of life, it's hard dating someone in college when you have a career.
Your life stages don't match. They can't empathize with where you're at.
As well as breaking up with this girlfriend, stop making promises that are hard to keep with your work schedule.
It sounds like you want to make everyone happy, but it cuts into your life too much.
Learn to cut back.